Hi everyone, I'm Lea Pearson. It's Facebook Live time. It's Monday at noon on the East Coast of the United States here. I know some of you are other places, but I'm so glad to see you, and I have some really fun stuff to share with you today. Hi Katie, how are you? So yes, hi Jared. I'm an injury prevention specialist and I'm the founder of Music Minus Pain. And recently I spent 4 days at the National Flute Convention. Hi Christine, hi Deanna, hi Jessica. And during those 4 days I watched a lot of flute players trying flutes and walking around. And I taught 37 lessons over the course of 4 days. And what I saw was that most people are trying to hold their flute up in a way that is causing a lot of trouble. And what that is they're trying to use their shoulder muscles to hold up the flute. Hi, Circa. Now, this is not a scientific survey. It's just my personal observation. But 90% of the people that I worked with and that I saw were overusing these shoulder muscles. So what's the cost of that? Well, first of all, it creates a lot of neck tension and shoulder tension. Second of all, it creates a lot of pressure on the nerves to your hands and your arms. The nerves to your hands and arms come right out the side of your neck muscles. And if you are overworking these neck and shoulder muscles, you're going to be putting pressure on the nerves to your hands. And you do that for hours and hours a day, 7 days a week, 12 months a year. That's a lot of pressure on your nerves. That also creates tight arm muscles and it limits your technical facility. Hi, Brianna. And then it creates pain, discomfort, tingling, numbness. I had so many people with hand and wrist problems, and every single person who had a hand or a wrist problem or a neck problem or a shoulder problem or a back problem was overusing these muscles here. So I want to give you a solution for that because, right, we identify the problem. Now we got to have some kind of a solution, right? So there's two things that I want you to remember. They both start with S. The first is support from below. Support the flute from below, or the arms. It doesn't matter what the instrument is. It could be flute or violin or trumpet or anything else, anything that you're holding up. Support from below and suspend from above. And I'm going to tell you more about that. Some of you may already know this because you've worked with me a little bit. So support from below, what does that mean? Well, think about how you lift a heavy object. Do you reach down and try to lift it from the top, or do you go down and get underneath it and try to lift it from below? So hopefully you're lifting it from below because you're going to hurt your back if you lift it from the top. Other than that, why do we lift something from below? Why do we do that? Because we get more support, we get more leverage, we get more connection from the ground, we can push against the ground. And if you're not sure about this, just go get a chair and try it both ways. Lift it from the top of your body and lift it from underneath. So now, we're not lifting 100 pounds when we hold the flute, are we? No. But, you know, when people work with weight machines, hi Ann, hi Ellis. When people work with weight machines, they either do really heavy weights with fewer repetitions, or they do a lot of lighter weights for many repetitions. And the reason they do that, many repetitions with lighter weights, is because it's about endurance, right? You want your muscles to be able to do something for a long period of time. Hi, Jessica. Well, we're not holding 100 pounds, but we are holding something up for a long period of time. Hi, Angela. So we have to be able to get that support from below, from the ground. And really the reason is that your arm muscles, I'm going to use my friend Bones here, actually connect all the way down to your tailbone and right here, which is the center of gravity and support for your body, and then connects down to the legs. So we want to get that sense of the flute being lifted from underneath, from all the way down to the ground. And I really invite you to try this with a chair or a ball or something that's a little bit heavier, and just see how your whole body reacts to that. You know, how long can you hold something up if you're trying to hold it from above? Yeah, now I could go into a lot more detail about that, but that's another whole post, and I've actually done some on that. You'll find a lot of videos on my Facebook page. I've got over 100 videos, and that's in there in one of them. But I want you to get this idea that the support comes from below, really in relation to the ground. So I said two things: support from below and suspend from above. Now, what the heck does that mean? Well, I want you to shrug your shoulders, okay? Just shrug your shoulders. Can you tell what muscles are pulling up your shoulders? All right, feel what muscles are working in here and in the back. It's basically all of your neck muscles, or a whole lot of, there's so many neck muscles, I'm not going to go into details of what they all are right now, but there's a lot of neck muscles, and a whole bunch of those neck muscles connect the skull to the arm structure. So if we're talking about the arms, we're talking about the collarbone and the shoulder blade and all of these arm bones. And when you shrug your shoulders, I'll pull them around this way, this whole system is coming up like that, right? So when you shrug your shoulders, you can feel your hands going up and down. That tells you that the whole thing is coming from up here, and a lot of those muscles are attached to the skull in some way. So when we talk about suspension from above, it means this whole arm structure, which the doctors call the shoulder girdle, meaning, and you can feel this on yourself, feel your collarbones, walk them out to your shoulder blades and back around, hi Nancy, back around to your shoulder blades in the back. This makes basically an oval, and it's surrounding your spine. All of that is basically suspended from the skull. Whew! That'll blow a lot of people's minds. So how do we tell, is a good question for you teachers. If you are teachers, how do we tell if somebody is overworking here or not? Well, I have a great solution for you, and I tried this with almost everybody who stopped by my booth at the National Flute Convention, and they were all overworking their shoulder muscles. So I'm going to show you with bones here. You're going to need a partner to try this, or a student, but basically you want to just get people to hold their flute, okay? So I had to tape his wrists because they're a little floppy. But basically, so he's going to be like this. They're holding their flute like this. And all you have to do is put your hands, ask permission first, say, can I put my hands under your elbows? And you say, give me the weight of your elbows. With most people, you will feel almost no weight. Now this works for violin too, because if they're using these muscles up around the shoulders here, they're not going to be letting their arms hang. Then you could say, okay, give me all the weight of your elbows. And you'll feel the elbows gradually get heavier and heavier. And you say, what did you let go of? What did you release in order to give me the weight of your elbows? And most people say, I don't know. But then you try it again. And most people will recognize that they let go of some muscles up here around the shoulders. If they did that, that means that they're using shoulder muscles to support their instrument. And what the shoulder muscles need, which are also the neck muscles, is to be left alone. They need to be free so we can move our heads up and down, so that we're not putting pressure on the nerves. So if you're a teacher, I invite you to try this with all of your students. Hi, Ava. Try this with all of your students and you'll be amazed. Now, what's really cool is to reverse it and get your students to do this with you. Get your students to put their hands under your elbows, and then you hold up your arms. It doesn't take much to take all the weight off their hands, and then you let them drop. Just let them drop. This is not the same as pulling your shoulders down, mind you. It's just letting those elbows drop. And your student will feel immediately how much heavier your arms are. Now, I don't know how much arms weigh. There's really no way to find out what a live arm weighs, but probably, 5 to 10 pounds, depending on your muscles. But this is really important. This will help your students understand how important it is not to engage these muscles up here when you're holding your instrument. So what do you think about that? Does that make any sense? You can type in the comments if you'd like. So I want to give you just a little bit more about how to use your arms, because in an instrument that we're not having to hold up, most of the way we use our arms is about leverage. Even if it's, trumpet or clarinet or oboe, we're not doing a whole lot of raising. So when you think about the flute, all right, the main movement of our arms is bending at the elbows, and that's primarily an activity of the biceps and the tricep. The biceps are contracting, the triceps are extending. So we basically do this. And Nancy says, I could feel my shoulders loosening as you spoke. Oh, lovely. That's so nice for the violin. And believe me, I've worked with a lot of violinists on this same thing as well. So I want to show you a fun way to do this with your students, how to figure out how to hold your flute. So we'll do the little, Jessica says, I love that I'm sitting here trying to feel myself, and I already feel the difference. Fantastic. So pretend you're a little puppy dog. I was talking with Kathy Blocky at the flute convention about this. She teaches a lot of kids, and this is such an easy way to make it easy to hold your flute. So all you have to do is bend your arms and be like a puppy dog. You have to do the panting too. Go ahead. Now, notice, there's Caroline. Hi, Caroline. Notice where your arms are, okay? They're just basically parallel. Now, because the flute makes us play in an asymmetrical way, which means it's not straight in front of the body like the trumpet or the oboe. It's off-center, just like the violin or viola. And because of that, we don't want our arms to be in weird kinds of positions. We want to keep them as parallel as possible. Jessica says, been working with marching band flutes. Oh, God, yes. It's almost impossible, but I'll come to that in a minute, Jessica. All right, so we're doing the puppy dog thing. Notice that our elbows are just hanging. We haven't done anything up here. All we have to do is turn that left hand, all right? And by the way, I'm going to show you on bones in a minute. That turning comes from the elbow. We just have to turn the left hand. Now look how close I am to flute position. All I have to do now is gently look to my left. And this is really a movement of the whole spine. I just gently look over there like to somebody that I adore, like my little grandsons. And then I can't have my arms completely parallel here. I do have to get the right arm forward a minute. So I pretend that I'm going to push the door open a little bit right here. And I just push my right arm forward a little bit. Now look at me. I'm almost in complete flute playing position. Now I have a short neck, so I don't have to lift my arms very far. But if I were to have a longer neck, I would have to just push these elbows up a little bit more to reach my chin. So let's say my chin is up here. I still don't have to engage here. So let me show you that with my instrument. So I start with the puppy dog here. Now, if you're a teacher, you hold the flute, so the child doesn't have to hold. Here, now I'm going to rotate my left hand around and just have the flute here. I would like to have them rested on their shoulder first so they can get this. Notice how my right hand is pushed forward a little bit, and the amount you do this is very highly personal. Then I just gently look over to my left to somebody I love, and I float the flute up to my chin from below, as if somebody were coming and pushing my elbows up from below, or maybe a balloon was inflating under my elbows. I am not engaging my muscles up here. Now, you know what it looks like if somebody's engaging their shoulder muscles? It looks like this. Some version of this. And it can actually be very subtle. You might not actually notice it. All right? So I need to be able to have my arms parallel here and just gently lift it up from below. Now, so the puppy dog thing is fun. It's really fun with kids. Hi, Bootsy. Hi, Esty. But here's the trick, and this is partly related to marching band, Jessica, and this is where we get into a lot of trouble. Where we get into trouble is we find this nice position, and you notice that it's an angle. For a lot of people, it's about 45-degree angle from the body. It could be a little bit less, it could be a little bit more. The problem with marching band is that we ask people to hold their flutes parallel, and that creates a tremendous torque on the spine. It is murder. It's terrible. Nobody should ever have to do it. It's wrong, and we do it. Thousands of flutists right now are using their bodies in ways that creates injury. And the marching band world thinks this is okay. They don't know. Anyways, what I want to say is that never hold yourself in one position. It's a habit that a lot of musicians have in common. We get our flute, our instrument somewhere, and then we try to hold it. Now, have you ever tried to hold something without moving? You get tired really fast. So always, no matter where we are, we can move. And the whole point of having a nice balanced, leveraged way of holding your instrument is so that you can move however you want. It might just be tiny little subtle movements, or it might be bigger movements. But you want, and in marching band, you've got whole body movements. So always have the ability to move. Check your students. Make sure that they have the ability to move. Because if they don't, they're going to get stiff. And I see a lot of flute players who just like go boom, and they stay there. And the neck gets stiff, and the arms get stiff, and then they start pressing on their nerves. So there's a lot to work on here, but I hope this makes sense to you, this idea of support the instrument from below and then suspend it from above. Let your arms hang from above. In marching band, to be a little more specific, Jessica, we actually had a whole session with this with high school flutists at the National Flute Convention a few years ago. And it seemed to me that it ought to make perfect sense to be able to do this. But what we found out is that if they're wearing hats that have plumes in them, it totally changes the angle of the plumes, and it messes up the visual effect, which of course is ridiculous, but these things are important in competitions. So the best you can do is two things you have to do. First, tell them that the way they have to hold their flute now is only for marching band, and they should never do it any other time than marching band. Teach them that to hold the flute in neutral position, which most of them do anyways. To never do this any longer than they have to. And what they really need to be able to do is bring this left arm way around, so even further than they should go, and then bring it back so they get as much space in here as possible. And then really make a point. I'm going to show you with bones here, because I want to show you what happens when we do marching band. Okay? Can you see him? All right. When this right arm comes back, it jams that shoulder blade into the spine and twists the spine, torques the spine. So what we have to do is make sure when they bring the right arm back that they do it primarily here at this joint, so they bring it back there, and try to get them to stay open here and not pull the shoulder blade back. So what that's going to look like is with my flute. Okay, so I'm going to reach way around too far, bring it back, and then keep my elbows hanging. They never should have to do this. Keep my elbows hanging and make as much space in here and my back as possible. Make sure they don't stand up straight. That's going to make it even worse. They should never have to stand up straight, lift their chest. They can look perfectly good and upright without doing that. So those are some of the basics. If you want to know more about that, Jessica, or anybody else who wants to know more about marching band, maybe I'll do would you like me to do a session on it? I can do that as well, because it's really important. All right. I hope this is helpful to you. I'd love to hear how it applies for you. Let me see if and what you think you can do with this. Please like and share this. I would love for more flutists to be able to play comfortably. Everybody is struggling. And okay, Jessica, I'll try to do one later this week maybe, because we're starting to get into the thick marching band season, and I know that a lot of you, especially college students and recent college students, are involved in coaching flute sections. And this is a really important place to get good information to our flute players. Not so much of a problem in Europe, but in this country, it can be a real issue. Caroline, how to handle a student with jaw tension? Oh, that's a great question. And that deserves another Facebook session, yes. But I'll just say quickly, jaw tension has a lot to do with neck tension and trying to put your head in some place where it doesn't belong. Really, I mean, you just try getting your, doing this with your head, it creates a lot of tension with your jaw. So if you're struggling with any of this and you want to know more, send me a private message over Facebook, and we'll set up a complimentary video consultation because I'd love to be able to help you. And one more thing, after you like and share, stay tuned for some exciting new messages this week. I'm doing a new retreat in October on the beach, at the beach, not on the beach, at the beach in Massachusetts called the Musician's Matrix Beach Retreat. It's going to be really cool, and I'll send you put out more about it later. So thank you for tuning in today. So great to see you. Have a beautiful day. Bye-bye.